Hey Paula, how are you?
Hi, I'm alright. How are you, John?
I'm really good. Listen, I'm going to start again as I always do. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that you come on and gave your time and willing to tell us a little bit about yourself and your story. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, give us a wee bit about yourself, Paula, and what you'd like to share.
Of course. First of all, I'm really excited to be here, but I'm also super nervous. So if I start speaking fast and mixing up words, please forgive me. It's just start going off, rambling, whatever. But hi, my name is Paulina, but usually I also go by Paula, as most of my friends call me Paula. Either or is fine. All right, what do I do? I'm an English teacher. That's one of the things that I do. Entrepreneur. Started running my own business about a year ago. So still like super new in this industry of entrepreneurship and everything. But I also write. So I do mainly poetry, but I'm also working on a memoir. It's a step up for me, but that's sort of what I do. I teach English and I write. They sort of, work together to a certain extent. I live in Spain, where the weather is beautiful at all times and well, almost all times. And I have two fur babies. I have two cats. That's a little bit about me, I guess. I don't know what else to say.
No, no, that's cool. I love that, but you're going on that entrepreneurship journey as well, and it's good that you've like started because that I think that's a big stumbling block for people. They've got all those great ideas and stuff that they want to do, but they just don't start. But you've started, and that's amazing. And yeah, you're new, but are you finding a lot along the way? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm happy that I started. It's not an easy journey. And I think that's what scares a lot of people. I think that's why a lot of people don't start. They have a lot of great, amazing, wonderful ideas, but the actual step of going there and signing the papers, like I'm an entrepreneur. And now you have to pay different taxes, and this comes up, and you have to pay your accountant. That scares a lot of people, right? Because it's additional responsibility where normally in your 9 to 5 job, you don't have to think about, paying the taxes because they take care of that for you. You don't have to think about, going to the accountant's office to fill this form out, to fill another form out. And I think it's something that it's very difficult to do. However, it is a learning process. And since October, when I started my entrepreneur journey, I learned a lot. And I'm making a lot of changes starting from September because I realized that, okay, I need to make changes. I know I need to be able to survive, right? To pay my own bills, to pay my accounting, to pay this, that, and the other. And I can't do things the certain way that I have been doing, unfortunately.
Again, it's a lifestyle change as well. It's like you're trying to make that step up. So it's almost like you just need to kind of get a foundation and something to build on, you know what I mean? And you're doing that. And listen, sometimes we get in a way where we don't realise we're doing it and we're living a certain life. And it's only when we take that look inside and a step back almost, and we can see, do you know what, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. And if I do this, I can build. So, no, it sounds like you're making a good platform, a good foundation, Paula.
Yeah. It's starting. It's not easy. Like I said, but there needs to be a base, right? And there needs to be a base to also learn from those mistakes. Because if there always is room for improvement. Whatever we do, I think there's always room for improvement, whether it's teaching English, whether it's, I don't know, when you work as an engineer, as an architect, an artist, whatever you do, there's not a single person on this planet that is perfect at what they do.
No, 100%. And it's about having that humility and being humble and knowing that, do you know what? If I'm listening, I'm learning. If I'm kind of like looking around and knowing that I'm not the best, that I can learn from other people. I mean, it's as you say, everything is a school day. Every day is a chance to learn and learn and knowing stuff is like knowledge is power as well. Do you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I learn from my students still. Like when they ask me certain questions, I'm like, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure how to answer that. I don't know why the English grammar does this. I'm like, I don't know why this, I don't know, ed ending is pronounced as ed and this one as id and this one as something else.
Yeah.
Let me check that. Let me get back to you. And it's a learning process for me, right? Not just obviously in the business industry, but also as a teacher, as how I can provide my knowledge even better, right, than I already do through learning also through my students' eyes.
No, definitely. Like, that's amazing. Like, as you said, like, this is small things that come up. You just think that you know, and then it's like, hold on a minute, actually, I don't actually know that, and let's find out. But yeah, see, when it comes to teaching as well, there must be that labour of love, because it's to serve to kind of the future generations, to kind of almost, I don't know, like help. Like, as I say, that kind of calling to serve. Has it always been there?
Funny enough, no. I'm not the typical probably teacher, you know. I know that there is this whole idea of like you feel this calling, you know, it's like when you go into, I don't know, like priesthood or whatever, you have calling from God. And, you know, when you go into teaching, you have a calling from, I don't know, the masters of the masters type of thing. But no, that hasn't always been there. It was sort of like under circumstances that it unfolded that way. I never planned on being a teacher.
Well, I love your honesty. It could have been so easy to go, oh yeah, yeah, this is my calling. But like, it's true what you say. Sometimes like life just unfolds, and it's as I say, like the path has probably been written for us already, and we're just aligning with that. You know what I mean? So no, thanks for your honesty. It could have been easy.
No,
Just,
of course.
oh yes, yes, definitely, yeah, no, but no, thank you. But again, like I suppose when it isn't like a calling or a serving. I suppose that maybe we probably have to try that bit harder as well, because it's almost we're trying to fine tune it as well and align with it. So no, thank you for your honesty.
Yeah. The thing is, I generally enjoy teaching, you know? So there, I'm not lying about that. Like I enjoy teaching. I love my students. I love working with them, but it was never something that I thought I was going to do. I studied my first degree, my bachelor's in anthropology and French. Has nothing to do with teaching. Absolutely nothing. And then when I started work when I started thinking about what I want to do for my master's degree, I decided, okay, I'm going to go down the easy route because I moved to Poland during those years. And I said, I need to study a degree that's in English because my Polish was not good enough to actually study in Polish. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need to find a degree that's in English. And a lot of the typical English degrees were either business, marketing, journaling. No, not journaling, a journalist. Okay. And what else? And English philology with a focus on either teaching or translation studies. And I didn't like business or marketing. I was like, that's for me, that's too boring. I don't like this. And then journalist was one of the options, but I was like, you need to be really good at the job. Like, if you want to make it as a journalist, you really need to be good. Like, you need to know your ish, you know? And I was like, okay, let me go into English philology. It's English. How hard can it be? Let me tell you, when they give you a C2 exam, and you're pretty much like bilingual, almost like a native speaker, and
Yeah.
they tell you rewrite this sentence using these specific phrasal verbs. I'm like, what are phrasal verbs? You know, like please use this the third conditional. I'm like, what is a third conditional? Because we don't think about that. You know, when you speak the language since you're like a kid, you don't think about okay, what is a third conditional? What is a future perfect? What is a past perfect? So
I don't have a clue what that means. I'm sorry, I don't know.
So from there, I already had experience teaching in academies. And because it was like an easy gig for me, I was like, okay, I can teach English, you know, like, mainly conversational classes, a little bit of grammar. And from there, when I actually moved to Spain, the first job that I got was as an English teacher in a private school. And I was like, I don't know how I landed this job, to be honest, you know, like I don't have enough experience to be teaching 15-year-olds. But I got the job and I was teaching English literature and English grammar. I was like, okay, like I think I was 25. I think, one of the youngest teachers at the school.
Wow.
It's scary. It was terrifying.
Yeah. Because so I spoke to someone before about that. It's like they literally didn't know how they got in this job, and it's just like again, it's just like you're almost winging it a little bit and learning as we go. And did you feel like you were doing that then? You're just kind of winging it a little bit.
To be honest, sometimes yes, mainly because I was teaching students who already had a really, really good level of English. And when we had our grammar classes, some of them they were asking me, and why do we do this specific way? And I look at them and I'm like, honestly, I don't know. Like, let me check in the book because I know we do this specific thing because that's how we do it in English. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But why? I don't know. I have to double check that. And there were times, like where I was sort of winging that, like, not gonna lie. I had my lessons prepared, whatever, but then when questions come up, you're like, let me get back to you, tomorrow about this, or let me send you an email about this. Let's come back to this idea next class. Literature for me was always the easier part of teaching
Yeah.
because it's more creative. And I've always been more of that, creative person. So I think also when I was slightly winging some of the things, people haven't noticed because I was quite creative about it.
Yeah.
My God, if my like ex bosses watch this or like previous managers, they're gonna be like, glad she's not with us anymore.
Not at all. Listen, you say you're kind of winging a wee bit, but you were still going in away and finding out. Because for you, like when it comes to the teaching, I suppose, were you expecting the whys? It was always about this is how we do it and this is how we speak. Were you, were you looking or were you expecting the whys? You know what I mean? Then maybe that's why you didn't quite get that part of the question. I mean, but you were learning it and you kind of adapted and you dealt with it. You know what I mean? But listen, the teaching as well, like, I can't imagine what that would be like for you, because, like, I know, like, with my experience with schools and stuff like that, teachers kind of get a bit of a hard time. Was it something similar in Spain? Did you felt like it was a lot? How was the kind of teaching compared to what you were used to as a kid?
I think, mm, yeah, I think teaching has changed, definitely. Slightly for the better from what I have seen when I was a kid. Although it's difficult for me to also compare it because I went to school in the States where uh, it was a lot more relaxed. And here I was teaching in a private school. Still pretty relaxed because it's a private school, but I do think that nowadays languages are taken more seriously. I remember going to Spanish class when I was in high school and, just like making jokes, being silly, like the teacher getting super frustrated because no one is paying attention. And then she gives us a test and we're like, oh my God, we have a Spanish test. Um, so I do think that the way that we have like these teachers like are more engaged with their students nowadays, whereas back in the days they were a little bit like, okay, if you guys don't listen, you guys are gonna get a pop quiz or a test or whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays, when I wanted to give a pop quiz to my students, the head of the department was like, no, don't do that, like we're gonna get a lot of angry parents, like we can't do things like this. And I'm like, the kids are so protected now, and on one hand it's good
Mm.
because it doesn't stress them out as much, but at the same time it feels like they're not getting the real school experience.
Because, like, when it comes to schooling as well, like, when you're getting educated and stuff, like, a lot of the time it's about remembering stuff, it's like your memory. And obviously nowadays with tools like Google and even AI and stuff like that as well, it's like you don't have to memorize things and know things. So a lot of kids now probably are having that mindset. I don't have to know this, but and I suppose the teaching needs to change to almost keep them engaged. Do you know what I mean? And I think that a lot of the big differences as well. Yeah, because I was the same when you were in Spanish at school or you done French. It was almost seemed like a free period. It was like yeah, I can remember the teacher being a bit frustrated as well.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like now I think about it, I'm like, oh my goodness, like we gave him hell. Like it was
Yeah.
a night. And for me, another one was my history class. And oh my goodness, as much as I loved history, it was European history, which is great. It was about World War II and whatnot, all the problems, everything, that led up to it. Um, but I've watched so many movies about that. I mean, my parents are Polish. I'm Polish. So, like, I hear about the World War II stories every family gathering. It's like, oh, your great grandfather was in the war and blah blah. And it's like, here we go again. Like, great. So in history class, I was sort of just like, okay, like I'm gonna go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. We're watching a film anyways. I would disappear for 20 minutes. There were many times that I would skip class with my friends and go to Starbucks. So it was like I feel bad for the teacher because he was actually really passionate about the subject. But when you're in high school, you don't realize that. You don't see that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Another thing I was want to talk to you about as well was like I just thought of it when you were talking there. It's about when you were talking about which kind of thing we to do your masters in. We're making decisions all the time, aren't we? And that's quite a big decision. And it's like it's okay to change because that decision you made at that time was how you felt then and what you thought was going forward was going to be good for you. But yeah, I just wanted to let people know that it's okay to make decisions at a time, but also change. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're still following up with that as well, which is good. Yeah, in life, it's good to kind of make changes. You don't have to always stick to your decisions, and it's okay to kind of shift lanes. You know, that's what I was getting at. I mean, but I felt like I got off topic here.
No, 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 no. It's completely true, right? I mean, I didn't think that that's what I was going to study. I wanted to go further into anthropology, but then I started being realistic. I was like, what am I going to do with anthropology degree? Like, I'm going to be, an archaeologist digging in the ground if I get a job, which is fine. Like, kudos to archaeologists that make it, but I don't know if I would make it. I don't like that's always that what if, right? But it's perfectly fine to sort of change course. I didn't think I was going to be a teacher, and here I am, running my own teaching business, on top of all the other things that, I do on the side, and I enjoy it. That's something that gives me joy. I have a lot of fun with my students. We have good laughs, we're learning, and I wouldn't change that. Like, it was a big decision that I had to make to leave in September last year from
Yeah.
the job that I had because I just felt like I don't know if it makes sense or if it's maybe the nicest way to say it, that I've outgrown the place.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Just didn't feel like I was at peace where I was working.
It's good that you've done that though, and you recognised that first, and then you actually had the guts almost to take that leap of faith and leave because when we're in a steady job, when we're getting comfortable, it can actually kind of spoke to you off camera. When you're in that comfort zone, it's almost like you get too comfortable and you're not growing, and you can feel yourself getting suppressed. And because I was saying as well, like when you're in that comfort zone for so long, the comfort zone starts to get smaller and it kind of suppresses you. And when you step out your comfort zone, that's when you're growing. So I guess when you're doing that job, you were feeling that it wasn't kind of giving you that fulfillment anymore, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not, I don't want to sit here talking poorly about my previous job because there are wonderful teachers there. I don't have any problems with the CEO, with most of the managing staff and whatever, but I just didn't feel like I was doing something for people and for myself as well, right?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, we are, so to say, the only person that really truly knows us. And sometimes we also lose ourselves, right? Um,
Yes.
but we're the person that we're gonna be always there for ourselves.
Mm,
Selfish as that sounds, right? But unfortunately, divorces happen, right? Our parents, right, might not be in our lives anymore.
mm.
Sibling disputes happen, right? Our friends sometimes come and go. At the end of the day, we need to do things that are also right for ourselves and what feels right in our gut.
As you said, like, we're the only ones that are going to always be there for ourselves, and we need to look after like that relationship. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, the one we have with our, the thoughts we have with ourselves, the relationship we have with ourselves is important. You know, I kind of speak about it all the time. It's pouring in that self love to yourself and giving yourself a talking to, like, well done, you're doing great. Because sometimes it's so easy just to kind of focus on what we're not doing so well, but we don't always see how far we've actually came and how much we've grown. And it's crazy, as you said, like there's people in your life you expect to be there forever, and but it's just sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And yeah, I mean, we need to look out for ourselves as well, and that's very important. 100%, Paul.
Yeah. And sometimes I say that to like my friends or whatever, when I'm giving them advice, they're like, you're so harsh with that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but take a look at the friendships that you had since you were, I don't know, 15. Have all those friends stuck around? Maybe
mm,
you can count two of those friends or one
yeah,
that has been your siblings still argues with you, you know? And it's like they're not always there. As much as you want to, believe that, it's brotherly love or, your sister loves you, sure. But they have their own families. They have their own things to take care of, unfortunately, right? Everyone is like, when you think about characters, you're your own main character in your story, right? For everyone else, you're sort of like a side character,
yeah,
right? As much as you want to, be that protagonist, if you put it in a perspective of, yeah, maybe for your parents, you're also the main character, right? Like, because you're their child, generally, right? There are different situations that people have with family and whatever, but generally, right, for your parents, maybe you're the main character. For your partner, maybe you're also like, like the Bonnie and Clyde type of thing. But in reality, to your, I don't know, friend, neighbor, cousin, whatever, you're not a main character in their story, unfortunately. I try to, sometimes it sounds harsh, but I try to be realistic with it because at the end of the day, as you said, we're gonna be there for ourselves as well.
definitely, and that's a beautiful way to put it about the main character and stuff like that. It kind of allows people to actually see it in a different light, and when we are the main character, we are the director, we are the ones who can change our lives, you know, and for better or for worse, unfortunately, definitely. And sometimes when people live their lives in the past, almost it's like they kind of cling on to the memories of what the relationship used to be like, and unfortunately, one, they're not there, and it's harsh and it's hard for us to accept almost sometimes. And I've done that in the past as well. You kind of cling on to memories and of the way things used to be. But no, we're the main character, and unfortunately, and it's, again, this sounds harsh, and I don't mean it to be harsh, but we need to kind of we need to kind of cut people who aren't serving us almost, and who aren't there for us, and because like if it's just a one way thing all the time, it drains heavy on you. Because honestly, I say it all the time, actions speak louder than words. People will tell you everything you want to hear, but are not living that life, are not kind of following through with those actions. So that's a big, good bit of advice. Look at what people are doing and not what they're saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
No, no, definitely. You're 100% right with that, completely right.
Mm,
Because many situations in my life have passed, like, and a person can tell you, oh, like, I will be there for you. I will, drop you off at whatever. I'll pick you up at whatever. Like, we're
mm,
gonna go out for beers. We're gonna do this. And then, like, when you actually call that person to meet up, to do this, to do that, no response, nothing. Like,
mm.
completely like gone, ghosted. Who knows what happened to them, right? And then they hit you back up 3, 4 weeks later, saying like, "Oh, sorry, I was busy." For 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, we're glued to our phones, I'm sorry, you
Mm,
know?
mm,
So you're completely right. Actions actually speak louder than words, and I
mm.
feel like generally that's the case.
So,
And the whole idea that you also said about, sort of going into past relationships, sort of, being stuck a little bit in the past, that's something I'm working through right now, with my writing,
okay.
because I think it's important to also get closure. I don't know if you personally also had the chance to have that closure with things in the past, because I feel like sometimes that's why we sort of very often go to revisit those things because maybe we haven't had the proper closure, whether it's on the part of that person or our own part or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and it can be difficult to let go. I completely get that.
Mm. No, definitely. And having this conversation with you just now, I feel it highlights that for me as well, that closure, because as you say, again, as I say, you cling onto the memories, and you're like, you want to just, and you want to be there for someone, because I'm not going to mention names or anything, but you want to be there for someone or a certain person, but you just can't. They're just not in the same place as you, and there's so many factors to why a relationship doesn't work. I mean, as you say, you outgrow or whatever, and things just change. But um, yeah, just having that conversation with you just now has made me realise that I've got a lot of closure that needs to be done. It needs to be. It's not just that as well. We have the good intentions of going and closing it, but we just don't kind of see it through. You know what I mean? No, 100%. And talking about your phones as well, that pisses me off, man. Like as you say, we're glued to our phones. We know that we've seen the phone. Just a bit of advice to anyone, especially anyone we know. Please just have the honesty. I was going to say a word, guts, the balls to just say, listen, I'm not going to make it. Because people have got good intentions, Paula. We've got all good intentions. We all say, oh no, definitely we want to do this with it. And life happens. But see if it's not going to happen, just go, do you know what? I can't make it. And because when 3 and 4 weeks passes, it's just on the hope that we're going to forget. But it only just makes it that little bit worse. That I don't need
Yeah.
to wait 3 or 4 weeks here. Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, definitely. The whole thing with the closure to also give the idea of a little bit of closure. What I find useful is definitely journaling, right? Therapy gets super expensive. I don't know if you go to therapy. I don't know if you support therapy. I don't know what's your thoughts and opinions on that. I know there are very mixed opinions about therapy. I personally go to therapy. I enjoy going to therapy. I think it has helped me a lot throughout the years, but also writing. And I think sometimes writing is also a wonderful outlet to get closure, to write down what you would want to say to that person. Maybe you no longer have contact with that person. Write down what you would want to say to that person. Maybe
Mm.
you can't, right? Burn it. If you have a backyard, I don't know, set it on fire, burn it, right? Put it out to
Outside.
get a little bit of a release, right? Of like, okay, that's done. The words were burnt, they were, so to say, said, and that's over with. Might not work 100%, but why not give it a try, right? It might feel a little bit of like lighter, like, okay, I actually wrote it down. It's no longer in my mind.
I love that.
And in regards to the phones, to add on to this, um, yeah, it's very frustrating, right? We're glued to our phones, and I'm the same way. It's like if you can't make it to an event, if you can't come and pick me up, if you can't meet up, whatever, let me know and don't just, I don't know, reply to me 4 weeks later or whatever. It makes zero sense. Like it will, the anger will just build up. You know, if you don't reply or if you come up with some BS excuse that I was busy for 4 weeks because I don't know, my grandma's dog's hamster, whatever, died. Like really?
Come on,
um,
give me a bit of
yeah,
respect here, a bit of credit. Come on. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. No, I loved that. Sorry, I'm sorry I get back with the closure thing, but I loved that. That was a great idea about writing and stuff like that, and how you said make you that a little bit lighter because that's what it is as well for me as well. It's when well, I've not got that closure, it does. It sits heavy on you. It's almost like you can't breathe properly. It feels like it's really laying heavy on your chest. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try that. I'm going to write it down because you hear it all the time. You hear people talking about writing things down, journal, because a lot of times it's in our heads. And just you saying that and sharing that is a good way of maybe learning. Thank you, Paul.
yeah, no worries. I have a whole journal here. I was before we actually hopped on the call. I was writing in this journal is about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old at this point. It's all falling apart. You probably have seen it on my TikTok videos, but it's all
Yeah,
like falling apart.
yeah,
But this is a journal that means so much to me because it has all my thoughts from, I think, 2016. Like thoughts, ideas, how I was feeling in the moment. So if anyone is trying to like steal shit from my house, the most valuable thing that they can steal is probably this.
yeah,
That's the thing that I would actually cry, if
yeah,
someone stole. But it's something that actually allowed me to get closure with people. It allowed me to understand my emotions, understand my feelings, not feel like my real self because I had a lot of struggles with mental health and I was in and out of therapy. I was, like trying different ways, different methods of how to cope with certain situations and writing things down was like for me something that was super like therapeutic. So I really hope that actually like at least it can help you a little bit to feel like okay, it's no longer here, right?
yeah,
It's no longer here. out somewhere on a page, like far away from me.
Mm. All of that. Because you said that there's about being therapy for you, and that's the thing as well. Like when we talk about therapy, there is obviously so many forms of it. Like we can talk, we can. Some people's therapy is listening to music or just yeah, just getting away from everything. But it's about finding something that works for us, and see just listening, having this conversation to you. I know that it's going to work for me. I can just tell because of your passion for it as well. It's kind of inspired me just to do that as well. And sometimes, like, that's all people need to hear. There's just that little bit of advice. And see, the thing is, that would help so many. And I'm going to use it. I'm stealing that one.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy to hear that. I'm really
Yeah.
happy to if I can help just one person with a small thing that I say, such as write it down, like
Yeah.
do this, I don't know, burn the paper if you need to,
Yeah.
play a arsonist type of thing. Just do it. Like if it's gonna actually help you, like do it. Because I know that's from personal experience, I know that has helped me. I can't speak for everyone else because everyone else, as you said, has different experiences, whether it's with therapy or writing or whatever. But from my own personal experience, I know that that has helped me, and I know it works because it works. I think I'm in a better place mentally now than I was, 9 years ago.
Definitely. And it's maybe a barrier for you, and it's kind of knocked that barrier over for you just to get that mental clarity. Do you know what I mean? Get that freedom because we do. When we have those thoughts, it's almost stopping that creativity. Do you know what I mean? It's stopping. It's a barrier. I mean, it's going to stop, but no. The good thing about here, Paula, is they have a lot of chimneys, have a lot of fires indoors, so I'll just be using it to start a fire and just chuck it away. But good on you for keeping a book for 9 years. Gosh, I go through about 20 books a year. I keep losing them. I'm such a klutz man. So well done for keeping it so long.
Yeah, this book actually has traveled with me from the States to Poland, different cities in Poland, because I lived in different parts. And then I had my niece, I think it was my niece, bring it over this year, from Poland because every time I go, I always forget about it and I always forget to grab it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it this time. And then of course I don't have space in my luggage because my mom gives me all the food and gives me all the gifts and gives me whatever. And I'm like, Mom, my luggage is not closing. She's like, no, no, take more, take more. Moms. So I was like, okay, I need to take this journal. So I called my niece and she was coming here for vacation. I was like, can you please grab this journal from grandma's house? And she's like, yeah, yeah, I'll take it. And it was a lot of feelings when I actually sat down to open it. I was like, my goodness, like everything hit from 9 years ago. And it's a good and bad thing, to keep something for so long. It's good because you can go back to it and see your growth and be like, I thought it was the end of the world, 9 years ago when I was going through a messy breakup. And now I'm like, I'm here in a stable relationship. I'm happy. I'm, doing well. And then it's also, a bad because you look back at it and you start to reminisce. You start to overthink of that. What if I have done something differently? What if I did this? So a part of me sometimes wants to rip out the pages and actually burn them as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But let's see if I'll get to that point. For now, as I'm writing my memoir, I need all the information that I can that I can get from this.
Definitely. No, definitely. That's what I got from. I kind of had the same kind of feelings as what you said there. There was good and bad, but yeah, definitely for the growth. And I think growth is more important than the other stuff. Of looking back, because like sometimes we don't give ourselves credit. You don't go, "Wow, I have actually progressed so much. I'm doing so much better than I thought I was." And it's the only way we can look at that and just say, "Well, where we've came from." We can see that.
No, definitely. So you definitely should get a journal that you just keep around for a while, like I don't know, have a designated place for it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, lock it in a drawer somewhere that no one can get to, But then try not to lose the key if you lock it in a drawer, because that's another problem.
Yeah. Oh, talk about hurdles and barriers. I'm always giving myself hurdles and barriers, stuff like that, losing keys and books and stuff like that. Oh, that's just my personality. I don't 100% know why I do those things, but yeah. But yeah, no, thank you, Paul. That was amazing. Even just with the journaling and stuff like that, and hopefully you as well hearing it out loud. You can, because sometimes that's what it takes, just to hear things out loud and get it out our head, out of our
Yeah,
head, to realise some things. Realise growth, realise we are different people. We've come so far.
for sure. And
Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead. You can ask. Yeah.
No, no, and then just no, that was it, and I hope you do feel that. I do hope you feel the growth and stuff like that, and realise how much potential you have.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I know I have grown a lot from even last year, right? But that's the thing, that's the beauty of life, right? There's this whole thing of always being scared of getting older, right? Um, and it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna be older. It's one more year, I'm approaching my 30s, I'm approaching my 40s, I'm approaching whatever, my 50s. But there's also a beauty to it, right? That hopefully with age, that wisdom also comes, right? And if not wisdom, at least experience. Right? Because it doesn't mean if you're older that you're wiser. Generally, there is a stereotype that that's the case, but at least experience, right? And that we can sort of see our mistakes, that we don't make those mistakes again, that we learn from them. So I do think I have grown, and there's still a lot more to do, right? There's still much more to improve, but that's the case. That's life.
No, definitely. And you are moving forward. You're going in the right direction. When it comes to life, unfortunately, we're not born with experience. We have to learn. Do you know what I mean? And we hope to be learning a lot as well, experience as well. And as I said, we're not born with experience, so take the time to look around. We've got so much information at our fingertips. If we've got a passion, if we've got something that we want to do, yeah, speak to people, look around and get the information. You know what I mean? And get the experience. Lean in on each other. I mean, let's be there for each other in life. Do you know what I mean? That's what I always want to share as well. Just like, yeah,
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I'm really impressed with what you do because when I've heard about you because of Nur, and Nur was telling me like, oh, you need to talk to John. He does podcasting, and I was like, okay, let me check it out. And I think when I first checked it out, you only had like a couple of videos up, and I was like, oh, he's like very new to this, but like good for him that he's going into this world because I know podcasting world can be very difficult. I know it's difficult to actually like it's it's an idea of also almost like make it or break it. Right. It's like you either become on the top charts, like with your podcast, or you're somewhere down in the ditches. And I got demotivated because of that. Right. When I was doing my podcast, I got demotivated. I was like, I don't have enough time. I can't put in enough time for this. So when I saw that you actually have guest speakers, you're putting in the effort, you're there, you're showing up, you're like, in it, I was like, okay, like this guy is motivated. This guy is like he's gonna make it. Like whether it's gonna be, on number one on top charts, but or not, but like
yeah,
whether it's making it on charts or whether it's making it for yourself,
yeah,
that's and I wish I had that idea also, like idea as in like I wish I had that pep talk with myself when I was doing my podcast, but I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
because my goal was like, okay, I want to be on the charts. But that's not a right mindset to go with that, right? The right mindset is like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I'm doing this because I want to, because I want to
yeah,
hear and listen to other people. And I feel like what you're doing, like, I haven't heard or seen anyone else doing something similar. So kudos to you. Like, really.
Thank you so much. Honestly, yeah, honestly, you don't realise what that does to me. Like, isn't it? It's a amazing feeling to hear that. And do you know what? You're right. Like, it is make or break. Like, as in, like, you can be really popular at it, and you can be really like people can just whatever. But for me, I just love to hear stories. I just love to inspire. I love to kind of just know that I've made a difference to someone, and as you said, if it can just be that one person, that's enough for me. I mean, honestly, because I always talk about paying things forward and stuff like that. Why would you not pay forward being kind? Do you know what I mean? And I always kind of talk about that. It's my kind of thing. No, thank you so much. Everyone's got a story, and like I, I wrote everyday people story, but like I'm finding as well, like I've spoke to a few people who have got a little bit of a following and stuff like that, and they're everyday people as well. Everyone's got their hopes, their fears, their worries. Um, with this podcast now, like, do you know what? I want to be the exception to the rule. People, everybody says like you need to wait 10 years. You need to do this. You need to do that. I want to be the difference. I think we're living in a time where we can be exception to rules. Just
Yeah.
because things have been done a certain way, or you've had to wait a certain time to get somewhere. That's going to be the case. But why? Why can we not break the cycle and just say, "Do you know what, I'm going to do this in 2 years rather than 10? You know what I mean? And that's my hope. But yeah, for me, this is a platform. It's a stepping stone for me because I want to be an empathetic life coach. I want to be there for people. I want to be the safe space. And hearing people's stories like this is only going to help with that. And again, I get started. Sorry, I rambled. But thank you so much. I really loved that compliment. That was amazing, Paula. Thank you so much.
No, it's a true compliment. For me, it's not a compliment. It's just me saying the truth. So just take it as it is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you're right with this whole idea of right exceptions and things like that. I was really surprised that your podcast is mainly video, and because you hear podcasts and you're like thinking audio, right? Immediately, that's the first type of thing that you get in your mind. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be on camera. Like, let me put on my best black t-shirt, the only thing that I own in my closet, always black t-shirts. So it is something that is different, and I think the creative space is changing, right? The creative world is changing as well. And I think what you're doing with podcasting is going to be also very different, right? And you probably also learn, right? Like from what you're doing now and how it's going to look like 2 years from now. Same idea with my writing. Like the thing that I have published last year, I'm thinking, oh, I wouldn't not publish that, or maybe not. I wouldn't publish it, but I would have made certain choices that are different. So I think it's good to have, like these little exceptions here and there, and being aware that things are changing, being aware that the creative world is changing. A part of me also is trying to make that change with writing, because everyone thinks about poets as very zen, very mellow, very, like when you think of a poet, you think generally I think of boring people. I think of Shakespeare.
Mm.
Sorry to Shakespeare. He's probably, in his grave over there, like really embarrassed now. But like, am I boring? But it's it's a stereotype. I mean, like, I write poetry, but that does not mean that that's one, my whole personality, nor two, that I'm gonna be writing Shakespearean sonnets, right?
Yeah.
If I want, I'll write you a whole rap song, I won't rap it, but I'll write it, And people will be like, but that's not poetry. And it's like, well, look at Eminem, look at Tupac. Like, I think that's still poetry.
Just in a different form, I suppose. Yeah. But like, see, like I spoke to someone recently, and they said we sometimes we overthink things. We want everything to be 100% good. But see, sometimes it's okay to come in at 60%, 70%. Because see, if we start at 100%, amazing. How can we grow? How can we get better? And that's a barrier for people as well. It's like this isn't good enough. My work's not good enough. My writing's not good enough. Me on camera's not good enough. But you know what? That's all right because you'll get to that 70%, 80%, and then when you get to the 100%, then yeah, you can go right. I'm doing amazing. This is great because yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. Life doesn't have to be perfect. Our best work is yet to come, I think. for both of
Yeah,
us.
no, definitely, definitely.
It excites me. I get really excited but to know how better I'm going to get at this, and that's what keeps me motivated to know that I'm going to get better. And I hope that's something that you feel as well, because as you said, everything's changing. We're changing. The world is changing. So it's going to have to all align differently. But now, like, what a message I wanted to get across as well is like, don't think that it needs to be 100% perfect, because you're never going to get any better or grow if you get like that.
Sure.
But anyway, what did we talk about for you? Oh, sorry, go for ahead, go.
No, no, for sure. I mean, we're not perfect as human beings, so how can we make something that is perfect?
Exactly. Nobody's 100% perfect. If we believe that we are and we walk around with that, we talk about growth, there's no growth there with that. I mean, it's just probably about ignorance, maybe, and maybe not had a sense of reality. But yeah, talking about your future, talking about the future, what is your plans for the future? What's coming up next then?
Okay. I don't want to give away too much, but well, you know that I have my TikTok account and I'm trying to shift that idea a little bit into something different rather than just helping poets find their voice. I'm trying to expand it into more regular people who are struggling with their emotions. This is also why, I bring up the idea of the journaling and things like that because there are so many of us that are walking around with burdens from the past that we don't talk about because we don't want to say it out loud, because I don't know, we want to curse somebody out, because we want to be rude, whatever. Those things down. And I'm trying to shift it into a different approach of like healing, right? Like a healing through writing. Because I know, like I said before, personally, that's something that worked for me. Might not work for everybody. I get that. But I'm sure there are, I don't know, at least 100 of people in this world that would want to sit down and, do like a little writing like webinar, I mean, like, okay, let's write about this. Let's be real with ourselves. What did we hate about today? Let's be real. What really we enjoyed about today, right? Get those ideas down. The deepest frustrations that we have. For me today, I hated planning a bachelorette party. I was so pissed off about planning this bachelorette party that I sat down to write about it. I was like, I don't want to be rude to the girls. Let me sit down and write about the bachelorette party.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where I'm starting to lean towards now. And another thing is my poetry book. I'm working on a second poetry book, which I'm working to write it in English and in Spanish. So it will be like a mix of two languages that I love. And I'm working on a memoir, but that's a longer project that I have been working on for quite some time now. It's embarrassing to admit for how long I've been working on it. I think I started 2 years ago and it's been like working on it, not working on it, but I'm actually working on it a little bit more recently. So hopefully within the next 2 years, I can actually publish it.
When it comes to the healing, you've got someone here who's keen to be involved to hear what that's all about. Because just hearing what you're saying there as well, like when you talk about when we're writing things down and we're healing, we're also taking that opportunity to vent and express ourselves. And it's maybe in doing that and writing it down, we're maybe not getting frustrated with ourselves, firstly. And then maybe it could save a relationship where if you, because listen, sometimes we get angry and I mean, we say things we don't mean and we're like, shit. So as you say, like, I love that idea. Like, that as a form of therapy, as you say, it's almost healing people. And yeah, I think that's amazing, honestly, and that's going to be amazing for you, I believe. And with the memoir, that's cool, man. 2 years, yeah, 2 years isn't a long time, Paul. Honestly, you could think it is, but it's not. Life is life, and we're doing things
Yeah.
well. And but yeah, it's not too long. I look forward to reading that. That'd be good. Um, yeah, your future looks amazing, and it's good that you've got those plans as well, and you're putting them in action.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And what about you?
So for me, as I say, I'm doing a live I'm doing this podcast to hear people's stories, to get a bit more insight about people's perspective, how they see things. Every time I do a podcast, I'm learning. I learn so much every time. Learn today about the healing and writing things down with you. It's just every day is a lesson and I'm learning. So I want to take that into my life coaching where I can be there for people. I can understand maybe how things go. But yeah, I want to be the life coach. I want to keep doing the podcast and the life coaching and just be able to help people and serve people and be there. I mean, just that's my biggest passion. I mean, I just love do you know what? I just love seeing people laugh. I just love see when you walk past somebody and they've got the most sternest face and they just look so angry and then you just talk to them and the barrier drops and they just smile. See, for me that's the biggest win. Honestly, is to see seeing somebody just allowing themselves to be. Because I think we don't know what's going on in people's lives. I mean, but we can be kind and we can change their outlook for a minute and just see that the world's not so bad. Do you know what I mean? That's my biggest passion. But yeah, that's what I want to do going forward. My work seeing this will probably like, oh, is that right? But yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. I really hope everything works out, which I'm sure it will, because I can see that you're passionate about that. And I think passion and patience
Mm,
is important, right? And on
mm,
top of that, having the right people to support you and sort of push you forward as well, right? Because yeah, we can push ourselves forward, but we all have bad days, and sometimes where you say like, I don't want to do this anymore. But
mm,
if you have that one person at least telling you like, no, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna do this, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna do that, at least for that one person.
yeah, exactly. No, it's good to have that support network. And that's one thing I've found as well. Like surrounding yourself with like-minded people. If you're with three people who are idiots, you're going to be the fourth idiot. If you're with three people who are really driven, wanting to go on and do things and be successful, you'll be the fourth person. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that support network. You know what I mean? And I'm finding that as well. And even through my TikTok and stuff like that, finding people like yourself, um, who are supportive and who um who want the best for everybody. Do you know what I mean? And it's genuine. Do you know what I mean? It's genuine people I'm finding. You know what I mean? It's almost like I spoke to someone yesterday about frequency, about being in the right, tuning into the right people, and I'm finding myself doing that. I'm tuning into the right people, the support networks there, and yeah, everything just seems to be aligning, as I was talking about earlier.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that. Like, I'm really looking forward to see what else you create, because it's like, it's exciting. It's exciting to see other people like actually take that step forward and do the thing.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I've got a couple last questions. Obviously, you're talking about the self care and stuff like that, about writing things down. But do you have any other forms of self care? Do you go walks or anything like that?
Right. Well, obviously, I mean, I go through therapy, so that's a part of self-care as well, for especially mentally. But I hang out with my cats a lot. That's my self-care, like sitting down with them on a couch, reading is my way of sort of like disconnecting from everything, writing as well. And I do aerial yoga on the weekends. So that's my way of like taking care of myself, taking care of like myself physically and mentally.
What was that? Aerial yoga?
Yeah, aerial yoga. Those are the things of like, I don't know what they're called in English now, but it's like almost like swings, but like they're like from material.
Okay.
And you could do like flips on them and swing around and do like really cool like postures and poses and
No, I get it. I get what you mean now. Yeah, aerial. For some reason, I was thinking like I'm old. I'm older. I was thinking aerial as in for your TV. I'm like aerial, but as in the air. And no, that's good. That's good that you've got that because it's important. Self care is important. It's good to kind of, as you say, disconnect and just take a breath and just step back from life because life's fast, life's busy, and no, it's good to kind of have that self care. Brilliant. And one more question. As I spoke about earlier about therapy and stuff like that, a big part of my therapy. I have had therapy as well, and I really enjoyed it, and it helped me. But my day to day therapy is music. I love having music on, and yeah. One question I wanted to ask: do you have a favourite song, or do you have a kind of band you go to, or what's your kind of go to?
that's difficult. because I listen to just about anything. It depends on my mood, but definitely big fan of Eminem. If I'm feeling like a little bit pissed off, that's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Eminem and get angry and rap and whatever. But also I listen to a lot of like Green Day. So it's like two completely different worlds. But I don't think I have like a very specific favorite song, but yeah, I completely also love music and the different.
No, definitely. I think music is important to me anyway, but in life I think it is because it's almost like another way of expressing ourselves because we can feel certain things when we listen to music as well, and it kind of gets those feelings out as well as writing things down and burning them.
Yeah.
Paul, honestly, I've loved our chat. You've been amazing. Honestly, thank you for being so open. Thank you for giving so much good advice, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you've learned a bit more as well. And thank you for sharing.
No, I thank you. Like, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I don't have a chance to talk a lot, to other people except for my students and my partner. And I have a couple of friends here, but we don't get to see each other very often. So for me, when I have a chance to actually have a deep conversation, because it's a different thing to have, small talk versus an actual deep conversation with somebody.
Yeah,
It hits differently,
no,
right? So I
definitely.
really do appreciate for giving me this space also for you to, opening up a little bit, though I have been doing a lot of talking, maybe a little bit too much.
Oh, no, 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 not at all, man. I've absolutely loved listening to you. Honestly, your outlook and your version of life and what's important to you. Well, I've loved it, and as I said, I learned so much. I've learned so much from what you spoke about, and yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I mean, like, if you want to do this again another time, let's do this again.
Definitely, 100%. I definitely love to revisit people I've spoke to in the past as well, just to kind of see where they are in life and what's happening. And I know from when I talk to you again, it's going to be so different. You're going to be doing what you love, and just the future's bright. So I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Okay. I hope so. I hope so. Fingers crossed, right? For both of us.
Yes, definitely. Okay, Paula, thank you so much. And again, we'll catch up and we'll speak again. Looking forward to seeing what you've got to offer and what your future's like. So best of luck.
Thank you. Same goes for you.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.